And then there were 16. The NCAA tourney starts back up tomorrow. So we checked back in with our CBS local sports anchors across the country and asked for their Final Four picks. We begin with Bill Jones of CBS 11 News in Dallas-Fort Worth.
Here are the picks for the weekend. Let's start in the East, where we've got my pick to win it all, Duke against Virginia Tech, and I'm going to have Duke move on to the Elite Eight. And as anticipated, Michigan State is there against LSU. We'll take Michigan State to face Duke in the Elite Eight. And I'm going to take Coach K's team. They had their scare against Central Florida, but Duke moves on to the Final Four, and that's how we've got the East region bracketed right there. Now let's move down to the West. It is Gonzaga against Florida State. Gonzaga, one of the favorites in the tournament, and we'll take Gonzaga to move on over Florida State. Texas Tech against Michigan. I love what Chris Beard is doing with the Red Raiders, and I'm going to pick the Red Raiders to move on to the Elite Eight for the second straight year, but Gonzaga will beat Texas Tech to move on to the Final Four. Let's go to the other side of the bracket now, and we go to the South, where we've got Virginia against a surprising Oregon team, which of course won the Pac-12 tournament, but Virginia's defense is stifling, so we're going to pick Virginia to move on to the Elite Eight to face the winner of the Purdue-Tennessee game. Again, the 2 and 3 seed in every region advances to the Sweet 16, and Purdue has looked very strong so far, so I'm going to take Purdue to beat Tennessee. It's Virginia against Purdue, and I'll take the top seed, Virginia, to win and move on to the Final Four, which will bring us to the final region down here in the Midwest, and it's North Carolina against Auburn. I'm taking the Tar Heels to move on in the Elite Eight. Houston in Kentucky. I like Kentucky to beat Kelvin Sampson's team, and then a battle of blue bloods here, North Carolina against Kentucky Blue, and I'm taking the Tar Heels to move on to the Final Four. And there you have it from the guy who ranks 12,976 on the bracket challenge.
Bill, if it makes you feel any better, I picked all #1 seeds as well. Hard not to. Next up, Don Bell in Philadelphia.
The march to Minneapolis continues. Let's start in the East. Every championship run has a scare. That's why the most important mantra for the tournament is survive and advance. Duke was an alley-oop away from an upset loss to Central Florida. But now that they've cheated basketball death, expect the Blue Devils to flourish en route to the Final Four. Along the way, we'll watch 2 Hall of Fame coaches, Tom Izzo and Coach K, match wits. To the West, Gonzaga will flex on Florida State on its way to the Elite Eight. The last time Michigan made back-to-back Final Fours, baggy shorts were in vogue. Now dudes practically wear swim trunks. Michigan will ride its defense, which allows 58 points per game. They'll get to the Final Four, and somewhere the Fab Five will be smiling. To the South, Virginia survives Oregon and Purdue handles Tennessee. Along the way, the Boilermakers stay hot and show that their shooting performance against Villanova was no fluke. Carson Edwards wears #3 because Allen Iverson was his favorite player. There'll never be another Bubba Chuck, but Carson is the answer for Purdue. We'll see them in the Final Four. To the Midwest, I want to pick Houston. I really do, but I can't. My apologies to Travis Scott, UGK, Beyonce, and, of course, the Beehive. Don't at me. Kentucky is built for this, and so is North Carolina. But when those two meet in the Elite Eight, the Tar Heels will kick it into high gear. They're 3rd in the nation in scoring, and they have 5 players averaging 10 points or more. North Carolina goes on to the Final Four.
The madness it would be if UNC and Duke meet for the title game. Can you imagine? Let's take a listen to what Mike Max has to say out of Minnesota with WCCO4.
We're getting close. Who's going to be here next week at this time in Minneapolis participating in the Final Four? You were right to come to me because I've got those answers. Duke had their scare. Central Florida got their attention. When you get the attention of talent, they usually get better. Duke makes it going away, I might add. From the Big Ten, we get one out of this thing, Michigan. They didn't play as well as they would have liked last week in Iowa, but they played well enough that you say they're going to get it going and they can shoot the ball so well. So take a look at Michigan getting here just like they did last year in San Antonio. Great coach in John Beilein, a lot of good shooters. Tennessee, you can't help but like Tennessee. When you saw what they did to Iowa in the first half, you saw what they're capable of. Now, granted, the Hawkeyes made quite a run. but Tennessee held them off, and Tennessee has a lot of skilled athletes, and they're playing some really good basketball right now. So Tennessee makes it here. So too does Kentucky. Yeah, John Calipari's got a decent team, not his best ever. But Reed Travis, the grad transfer from De La Salle High School, went to Stanford initially and now is playing his final season for the Wildcats. He makes all the difference for this team. And he'll come back right by the island where he played. Only this time he'll be leading Kentucky in the Final Four. That's your right to come to me. Next week, I'll tell you who's going to win the national championship.
Looking forward to that, Mike, but next week I want to see you lower the hoop and throw one down. Last but certainly not least, Ryan Baker in Chicago.
I'm a Big Ten guy, but I think it's going to be an all-ACC Final Four. Overall, #1 seed Duke may have the toughest road to Minneapolis, but it's hard to pick against the best player in the tournament. Without a doubt, it's the man-child, Zion Williamson. Florida State will emerge from an equally challenging West region. With their opening round bugaboos behind them, Virginia will survive out of the South, and North Carolina beats Kentucky in a battle of the Blue Bloods in the Midwest. Oh, how sweet and elite this coming weekend will be as the madness continues.
The ACC already has 3 of the 4 #1 seeds. Are they about to earn an all-ACC Final Four? Talk about bragging rights. Be sure to check out some of the action on CBS. Matt Yurus for CBS Local Sports.